Hi guys, thank you so much for joining this 7 days class. My name is Samuel Linus and I'm super excited to have you here. At NerdyEye, we are a peer-to-peer edtech platform that allow people to learn in peers, groups, and communities. It simply means that gone are those days when you'll be learning alone and you have questions to ask, but nobody to ask questions. You wish you're a part of a community. You wish you have a mentor. You wish you have a learning mate, somebody you guys can learn and grow with. But unfortunately, you're learning online, so there is no one like that. But with NerdyEye, you have access to all of those things and even more. When you enroll for our platform, you have access to a one-on-one mentor. You'll be able to schedule a clarity call with your instructor at will. You will also join a support group where you can ask questions at any point in time. You will also be part of a weekly live class where you'll be learning and growing with other people. And guess what? You will also be paired with an accountability partner, somebody that you guys can learn and grow with and also build rapport as you advance in your career. And at the end of the career roadmap, you also get personalized portfolio review and job support. Don't forget to go on our platform and turn on your subscription. It's just a monthly token. That being said, don't forget to also subscribe on this particular YouTube channel so you'll be notified when we upload subsequent lessons, right? So without wasting much of our time, let's get into this particular video. All right, guys, you're welcome to this particular lesson. In this lesson, we'll be learning about functions. So I'll just go ahead and close all this one I've opened before and create a new file as we always do. And I will call this function.html. And I will close this one too as well. Start a new HTML document like this. And we'll come over here and we'll just type function, right? So this is where we'll be learning the basics of functions in JavaScript. So let's go ahead and try to run this. As usual, all you just need to do is right click and click on live server. I think I already have this running. So let me just change the index I have on my tab here to function. Right? Then I would click on inspect and I would try to get it to be at the bottom of it all and console. All right. So this is where we can be just testing what we are working on. Now, that being said, let's start creating some functions. So cover here, I'll create a new script. Then I will define my function. So how function work in JavaScript is that when you want to define function, start with the function keyword. So function, then the name of the function. Any name that you want to give this function. For example, let's call it greetings. Right? So this is us creating functions. Now, function in JavaScript must have brackets, right? So we have our brackets like this. Then it now has a curly braces, right? So that's how we define our function. So let's do it again. First things first, the function keyword, any name at all. So me, I'm just choosing to name this one greetings right now. Then our bracket like this, they will now have our curly braces. So this is what a function is. So anything now that we have inside here is going to be the code that's going to be part of the function. So function is a block of code that carries out a specific task. So that is why it's called function. What is the function of this series of lines of statements, right? Because each statement in each line of code is called a statement. So when we have like multiple lines of code that combine, carry out a specific task, it's called a function. For example, now I could say, let this function console log, or let's say the name, let's do something like constant. Okay, let me use var. Var name, that's variable name, is equal to Samuel, for example. Then I want to say console.log. No, this function is great tonight. Console.log in brackets. Let's type good day. Let's concatenate it with what? With that particular name here. So we'll save it. So now we've created this function, but we've not used it, or in other words, we've not called it. So this allows us to what? Create a function. So here we are saying creating a custom function. Right? So let's call it now. For us to call it, all we just need to do is to just type that same greetings like this. Remember, when we are creating the function, we create the function starting with the function keyword. But here, where we want to call the function or make use of the function, let me add this comment here and say call function. When we have this, where we call this particular function, there is no greetings. There is no keyword called function here, because if we come here and put this keyword function here, JavaScript will assume that we want to create another function, right? So where you want to call it, you don't add the keyword in front of it. So the moment we do this now, you could see now this particular function code will run good day Samuel. So calling the function allow the code to actually run good day Samuel. So this is it. You successfully create a very simple function. Now that we've created a simple function, the next thing we want to learn in JavaScript function is argument. So what is an argument in a function inside of JavaScript? So an argument allows us to pass a variable from outside a function into a function so that we can use it, right? And an argument is always within the bracket of that particular function. So for example, now I could pass in an argument here called name, right? So that we'll no longer have this particular variable name here anymore. So I can delete it now. So by so doing, using that variable called name, we've been able to pass this particular function, this particular variable of name from outside the function inside the function, because if we leave it like this right now, you could see good day undefined. It's going to say what name is not defined. So now how do we pass the value of this variable inside this function? Where we are calling it, we are going to pass it inside here. I'm going to say in quotes, let this be what? Samuel. So now you are going to see good day Samuel, right? So in other words, the value of this variable that we created now, which in this case is not necessarily called a variable, is called what? An argument, has been passed down through it as what? Samuel. So if I repeat this line, let me say this other one and is Paul, right? And save this. So you're going to have good day Samuel, good day Paul. So one thing again function does for us is that it allows us to have reusable code, right? So I don't want to have good day Samuel, good day Paul, and do that and write the code all over and all over again. So with this, we're going to have like repetition of stuff all over and all over again. So if I do this, we could have good day Samuel, good day Paul, good day Paul, good day Paul, good day Paul, blah, blah, blah. So it just keeps going on and on without us rewriting this particular code. All we just need to do is to call it. Now, what about when we want to be able to call a function but want the function, the argument, to have a default value, whereby if it is not specified during calling it, when we are calling it, let something else happen. So this is we are simply saying that how can we add a default value? Because let the default value of this, for example, let it be bush. Let the default value be bush. So in such a case, or let's say bush, let's say Nedian. So in case where we don't know the name of this particular individual, let's display good day Nedian. But if the name is sparse, let's display the name. For example, this could be John, right? So in this second one here, where we don't have a name, the default value of this particular name is going to be what? Nedian. So what we just did right now, we have an argument that has what? A default value. Another good thing again is that we could have an argument. We could also pass more than one argument in a function, right? Countless numbers of arguments. So let's say we want to pass another argument called age. So all we just need to do is to say comma age. So let's use this now. Let's say good day Samuel, and your age is just an assumption, right? Plus, let's say your age is all right. Let's concatenate that to say age too as well. So good day Samuel, your age is, let's add a space here. Good day Samuel, your age is undefined. Why? We've not defined that particular age. So for us to define the age, where we'll define it now, we'll come and say comma 20, comma 30. Say good day Samuel, your age is 20. Good day John, your age is 30. So if you want to add a third argument, the same thing too as well. Now the good thing about adding arguments is that when you want to add an argument, you are going to ensure that when you are calling it in the same arrangement. In other words, if I call and I pass in age 20 first before Samuel, JavaScript is going to assume that 20 is the name and Samuel is the age. For example, this one is going to show me good day 20, your age is Samuel. Why? Because I did not apply the value to the argument in the same arrangement that I actually created it. So you want to ensure that if you create it like this, that is name before age, you want to ensure that you are actually calling it the same arrangement. So for example, in this other one now, where we have default value for name, we can come here and specify 30. And this is going to understand that 30 is the default value for name. For age, and name is actually does not have any value, right? So now we're going to say good day 30, your age is undefined, because right now this 30 is for this particular name. So we can also still do the same thing and say by default, let the default value of age be 18. So we're going to have something like this: good day Nedgy, and your age is 18, whenever no value is passed across for both of them, right? So this is how you work with JavaScript function, right? Which is really this is how you work with JavaScript function, which is really pretty, right? So another thing you also want to know that we'll actually be working with JavaScript function, because in JavaScript we have two types of function. We have the custom function, which will be all the functions that we created by ourselves, and we'll also have the inbuilt functions. For example, inbuilt functions are functions that we don't need to create, but we just need to call them. For example, alert is an inbuilt function. Even console.log that we are using like this is also an inbuilt function, right? So alert, for example, alert hi. These are all inbuilt functions. Alert hi. See, it will just show hi there. So all these are inbuilt functions. What we used previously when we are creating an array, we spoke about let's go and look for that file. You should be able to see it under array. All these are all inbuilt functions in JavaScript. Push, unshift, pop, log, splice, and all of these things that we've used previously. They are all functions in JavaScript, but they are all inbuilt functions, which simply means it's part of the programming language by itself naturally. So we don't need to create them. We just need to know what they do and call them whenever we need them. But for custom functions like this, we're the one that created them and we are now calling them. Now, just to add more, in ESC JavaScript, there is something called the arrow function. So let's create an arrow function. So what then is an arrow function in JavaScript? So in JavaScript, instead of you creating functions like this, we could choose to say constant. Let's not call it greeting again. Let's call it salutation. Because I don't just want to give it the same name. Let's say salutation is equal to. So this is it. You see now, this could be constant, it could be variable, but since I've not taught you guys variable scope, let me keep using var. So now the variable name, which is salutation, is equal to an arrow function. So it acts like a variable, but it's an arrow function. How? This is our argument. They will now have something like this. Perhaps you see that. So what's making an arrow function is this. So let me do this again. So you equate an arrow function like this. There is no function keyword. It has an equal sign like this, and an arrow sign like this with a curly braces. So we'll call this an arrow function or a callback function, right? So you can also use that to create an arrow function. So with this now, we can choose to say an arrow function. Let's also have a name, and let's come over here and say console.log nice having you. Let us do it. Nice having you, Samuel. Let's concatenate it and say name. So we call an arrow function the same way we'll call this regular functions. So we can also say salutation name. Let's put Sharon. All right, there. So nice having you, Sharon. So an arrow function will also work like the regular function. So this is two different types of functions. So everything with an arrow function is the same thing. The difference is that this one has function keyword, greetings, blah blah. While the other one started as if it's a variable, but right now we now have a braces and an arrow key like this that allow us to create arrow functions. Right. So that being said, thank you for watching this particular video on functions, and it's an amazing one learning about functions in this video. See you guys in the next video. Good day.